Welcome to Spain, Poco. Buenos dias, Tanya.
Buenos dias. How are you?
I'm good. I feel like I just said that really quickly, though. Did I say that really
You're
quickly?
good or welcome to
Welcome to
Spain?
Poco. Did I say Spain, Poco, really quickly? I mean,
Okay. Well, look, it's actually the weekend. We're recording on the weekend. We have a little zen, right? So
right. But I mean,
calm, relax.
it goes into our topic, right? 'Cause-
Oh my gosh. That's so funny. Yeah, we are going to talk about the opposite of that. Sobremesa, the art of not hurrying up.
is it an art form or just a succumbing to, an acceptance of, and a
I think
rejoicing of once it's become
I was
part
gonna,
of your
that's what I was,
DNA?
yes, that's what I was gonna say. I think you're absolutely right. But I think when you just let it go and do it, you're like, oh, this is what Spain is about, right? Like this is the thing that's attracting a lot of us to Spain is
Right.
this more relaxed lifestyle.
But the
And this is the
relaxed
heart of it.
lifestyle takes a while to get in your bloodstream because you're not used to it, right?
I've been here, I'm gonna say here. I'm gonna be confused people because I'm actually in England for the Easter break and I'm gonna say here and then I'm gonna be in England. So just excuse the whole thing if I get it wrong.
She
But
does sometimes record from Spain, ladies and gentlemen. She does.
and sometimes England.
And sometimes England.
And so I was like, we've been in Spain now for 6 years, and I will say it takes a really long time to actually not second guess certain things like this when you're
Mhm.
thinking you suddenly have like a bit of anxiety or something about you know moving off a table and then you realize no, I'm in Spain, I'm good. So what is sobremesa? You want to start?
So Sobremesa is, it's basically that you have the table for the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
They do not have time. I mean, you can book a restaurant in a time slot for a reservation, but you have that table all night. So Sobremesa means, well, I mean, literally it means after or over the table, but it's basically what it means after your meal, right? You just sit there for hours.
I think it means you're just going to chat over the table.
Right.
I think that's kind of the gist of it because you're kind of done. And in all fairness, you're not always done. I mean, people will have a coffee, you'll chat for a bit, they might have a little bit of alcohol, they might come back to coffee. So you can really drag out the fact that you are continuing to sort of eat and drink things over this
Right.
time if you wish. Maybe not eat, more like keep the coffee going and going and going and have another one, and then it's completely acceptable. And that's one of the wonderful things here is not only is it a wonderful way to spend time with friends, but you are not being pushed out of the restaurant by the actual restaurant
Right.
staff.
And another thing that's big, and we live in a city, right? So it still takes some used to as well, because in a lot of cities around, in places where things are happening, the meal, but
Hmm.
especially in America, the meal is not your evening. The meal is nourishment to get to the next thing. If someone goes out on a date, you're having a date in a movie, or you're going to a dinner in a theater. And here, when you go out to dinner, that's the whole event. You're not here it's kind of the opposite. If you go to a movie, you may have dinner afterwards if the date's going well, but you're not succumbing to dinner first, and
Or
then
you just eat at home, right?
yeah,
And then
or you just
and
eat at
then
home,
the
right? Like
movie.
it's
Yeah. And that was a hard thing for me to adjust to when I moved to America initially. Like I found it I remember having a conversation with some friends and we were like, "Oh yeah, we're going to go out for dinner." And one person said, "I'm not hungry." And I literally couldn't comprehend what that meant
okay,
because there's you don't need to be hungry to go hang out with your friends, but I hadn't really got sort of grasped the idea at that point that the meal was just a meal to go eat and then you went on because you
right.
never stayed to hang out. So it was literally just for eating in America, right? You're just going to eat and then whatever it is that you're doing after that. So I was very shocked by that. And I even though I got used to that way of doing it, I never really got completely accustomed to it because when we moved to Spain and we sat and we had this long meal with some friends and I was like, "Oh, this feels very comforting and lovely, you
Right,
know?" And I
right.
missed it. I had missed it all those years, honestly.
I mean, I've been here, 3, and it still takes some getting. I mean, I'm used to it and I like it, but what's still stuck in me is, and it's probably also because I'm still a parent and a dad, and I'm still scarred from being a father of babies and toddlers and
Hmm.
and things having to get done, that I still scarf down a meal much quicker than everyone else is because that's part of my thing. So I'm still not used. I haven't slowed down. I've slowed down sitting at the table, knowing we're not doing anything after. But then like the food comes, I'm still in this like hyper. This has got to get finished because someone may spit up or we have to
Right. Something's
leave.
going to happen,
Things
right?
gonna happen. Yeah.
This is so true. And it's funny because but I don't know, you might have then had this experience where you've done that and then everyone else is still eating. There's no I mean, I'm not sure. Yes, you can take more time eating, but I think the sobremesa part is has a lot more to do with the fact that after you've eaten, you stay and you're drinking coffees and eating and drinking and hanging out after the food. So I don't, I
Right.
mean, maybe the food might take longer. You might have more courses or something, because obviously we've talked before about the menus that you can have here, like three-course meals that are very popular and things like that, that you wouldn't do that often in America either. You go for a
Right.
meal and so you just have your one dish or maybe a dish something else and then you're out of there. So yes, the meal might be a bit longer, but I maybe people might still eat quickly, but then they get to the coffee and then you just hang out and you're sitting there
Yeah, I
forever.
mean, you're at the table for hours after the meal's
Yeah.
over. And this is at lunch, this is at dinner. I mean, dinner's longer
Hmm.
than lunch, but still lunches are, I mean, if you're going out to lunch, you're there for 2 hours. You're not there for a 30-minute lunch unless you're
Two
going
hours is short.
but for lunch, I mean, if you have a work to get back to, right?
Oh yeah, no, but if you're going out for a sobremesa lunch, it's going to take all afternoon.
Right. Especially, yeah,
That's
especially on a Saturday or a Sunday, you're there
yes.
forever. But even like the siesta lunch hour time, right? You're going for 2 hours. I
Well,
mean,
that's just because we're not ladies who lunch, okay? If we were ladies who lunch, we would be doing this on a Monday and a Tuesday and a Wednesday as well.
right, but they are only open for 3 hours, so it can't go forever because they do close the restaurant at what, like 4 o'clock, right?
Okay, to that point though, I want to point out something about sobremesa that happens when that happens, and I've seen this a lot. So the restaurants are open for lunch, and then they close, or the kitchen closes, and the
Mhm.
restaurant stays technically open but without a kitchen working, and then
Right,
they open again at between 5 and 8, depending on what kind of evening place it is, right? So you have this siesta time when the restaurant's technically closed. However, more it's where we are anyway, and maybe this doesn't happen in the city as much. They will leave you at the table with your coffee and everything, and they will close the restaurant and you can carry on sitting at the table outside and drink your coffee and hang out, and there may even be someone in the restaurant that will come and bring you more coffee. But if you want to get up and go, you just get up and go, and you can leave the coffee cups and everything there, and they'll come and clean it up later when they get back at 5 o'clock. So
right, right.
I've seen that type of thing happen. Like no one is pushing you off a table in Spain,
No, no one is. And
not even when the restaurant closes.
no, no. But there are restaurants that close at like 4:30 and open up at 8, and those with tablecloths and stuff, you're getting kicked out. But that's because they're locking the door and they're turning over, they're flipping the restaurant for a night service. But yeah, those cafe type places, they don't.
Yeah,
They're, I mean, but
and
I've gone
especially
there
if
and
you
like
have
the
outdoor
people are
seating.
eating and they're like, the kitchen's closed, but we can still serve you drinks. And I'm
Right,
like, how do
they're
you
happy to have you
that
do that.
window of calamari? 'Cause and that has
Absolutely.
taken, and we've talked about this before, that does, it becomes it takes a long time to get used to that you're not eating at 5 no matter how hard you try, right? Like that's the
Not unless you do it at home.
yep, not unless you do it at home or you're in the heart of the tourist center or you're having McDonald's, like you're just not gonna,
Yeah,
you know
exactly those things. That's it.
no need to expound. The other thing about the sobremesa, and maybe people know this, is that check is not coming. So
No.
you can wave down and they may see you and it's still not coming. Just because they saw you wave them down doesn't necessarily mean they're going to bring it to you because it's not the culture to get you to leave. But, the
And they probably think you're kind of faking it for the person you're with or something.
right.
Like you didn't really mean that, did you? And there is a difference between the regular cafes, outdoor seating stuff, and a nice restaurant. So let's kind of distinguish those two. If you're in a nice restaurant, you ask for the check, it's probably coming. If you're in
Right.
a regular place, you probably need to get up and just go pay at the bar or something if you
Right.
really actually want to get out of there. If you don't mind waiting an hour or so after you've asked for the check for your check to come,
Right.
then you can wait at your table.
And it's so hard for because I've had visitors come and they're so taken aback, and I see people write about this in the reviews and the
Hmm.
Facebooks and all these things. It took forever. How dare I? The service. Don't they know nothing about customer service? Actually, they know a lot more about customer service because the customer wants to sit there and
Yeah.
they're not trying to get rid of you. That's the ultimate customer service. You're allowed to stay, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's actually one of the hardest things for, I mean, a few cultures, but the only one that I know that's quite this stringent is the American culture. I'm sure there's other countries around the world that are also very eat and go. I
Hmm.
don't know which ones they are, but let's say you come from a culture like that. It is built into your DNA at this point to be respectful to the restaurant and leave.
Hmm.
So it's actually very, you get quite anxious sitting there waiting for a check and feeling like someone's you're trying to leave, but you're not allowed to leave, like you're not being able to leave, or you feel like they want to turn the table over and it's your responsibility to get out, because that is an anxiety that you have in an American restaurant. Even nice ones, the second your fork with the last piece of food enters your mouth, the check is like bam on the table.
Yes.
And I just always found that incredibly rude, especially if you're in a nice restaurant. But that is how it is, and that's how people expect, because they got to turn that table around. So that anxiety follows you. So even when you know you can stay there, you still, the place fills up and all the tables are taken. You start feeling guilty,
Right.
actually. But you're like, it's fine. They're not expecting you to move to give someone else a coffee, and it's very interesting. Also, just the psychology inside your own brain on how it's working.
Hmm. I've had people visit that were just getting you not they hadn't gotten used to it yet. And,
Yeah,
and they got mad. They're like, I'm just gonna go up and pay. And I was like, that's actually what they're that's acceptable. Like
that's how it
that's
works.
how it works. Like if you want to leave a restaurant, you just get up and pay. And even after
Mhm.
3 hours, you just get up and pay. It's you don't it's not and
Yeah.
I love that too. It's like time to go. Now the only time it gets annoying is when someone's like, if you've gone with a group of people and you're gonna pay, and then you come back and someone's like, I paid for everyone, and you're like, no, I was gonna pay, right? Because it's not in your control, right?
No, Zena always says, "I don't understand why all you adults always are arguing about who's going to pay." And I like it's so funny because I never looked at it from that point of view. She's like,
Mhm.
"Surely you should be happy that somebody else wants to pay," and it's like, no, like there's this whole thing.
It's a different, but also what's great here is they have no problem splitting a bill a million ways. I haven't come
No,
across with an
yeah.
issue. And the other thing is they don't have an issue if someone's not eating. Where in the States, many restaurants, if someone's not eating, they get looks.
Well, that was my original point, right? Which
Yep.
is that you can come and just hang out. That is completely acceptable. One person's eating, two people are eating. You're not going to get the stink eye from a waitress.
Right.
Not enough people are eating at the table.
I
It's
mean, you
just
can
a
order
very,
paella for two for a table of three, and that's
yeah,
fine,
that's
right?
okay. Yeah.
You have to
Also,
order a minimum of
also,
two, but
yeah. I'm sure you could do it the other way around too. So the other thing for paying, if you're maybe not in the city or if you're in a slower part of the city, you could probably do this. If you know how much your coffee's going to be and you just want to leave it on the table, you can also just do that and walk away.
right.
As long as you're feeling confident that the waiters, you're in a place where the waiter's going to see it and
And
you
get
know.
quick because people, sticky hands in this town. So that's all.
Well, and that's why I'm saying maybe not in the city, but like where we live, I could totally do that. No one's going to take it, and
Right.
it'll sit there until the waiter comes around. And if for some reason someone stole it and you left, they're just going to maybe bring it up tomorrow. Maybe I don't know what they would do, but they're not sending the police after you for a coffee. I don't think.
For 150 coffee in the village, right? So,
1:30.
130. Ooh, not
Woohoo!
fail. You can't.
Since we're talking about tables, I do want to mention really quick table hovering.
Okay.
Is that something you're familiar with from the States?
No, but n- I don't think I ever went to a place where I would hover for a table, right? Like, 'cause that's in the States, it'd be more like a coffee shop to go kind of place, right?
Yeah.
Those like you're eating and then there's tables there and you're waiting for a table so you can all eat down, like at a Disney World, right? Maybe at Disneyland that happens.
Well, anywhere where you're serving yourself and bringing your own food to the table, basically, right?
Mhm.
Or even if you have to get the check. In America, it's very common to hover to make the people that are sitting there feel guilty that they are still sitting there after they finish their meal.
Right. It's time to go.
And by hovering, you're basically it's a kind of this nonverbal way of sort of saying, you need to move because there's people waiting. And there's a lot of little cafes and places where you pick up your own sandwiches or something, and then you sit down and people will eat and then go. And they may not have a lot of seating. And
Right.
you cannot, it does not exist here. Like that, the table hovering, you're not going to get a table because you hover, because somebody can have one coffee and then sit there for the next 2 hours, and they're
Right.
not going to be bothered by you. They're just going to think you're standing too close for some weird reason. Like,
They're gonna hold their backpack tighter because they think you're
oh, exactly. So you just need to move on here to a place that has a table, because
right.
you're also allowed to sit there for 2 hours and have a coffee, you know? So it's just, that's not going on here. It's not going to work.
No, no. And the other thing I think that's funny too, I have to tell you a funny story. So, like, especially the dinners, they last forever. And I mean, not the meal part, but the talking part. And then many restaurants will give you, and what is that, El Chupito, the little shot. They'll offer you a shot after the meal, and
Oh, yeah.
it's
Yep.
usually on the house. Well, I managed a bar for 3,047,000 years, and um, the shots came and I did it like shot, like one does with a shot. And it took a couple times of this happening, and people giving me this weird look of like, why did you do that? It was like a limoncello shot, and then someone whispered in your, you're supposed to sip it.
Of course, it's limoncello.
I'm like, why did you put it in that glass that clearly says down it? Because it's the tiny, it's not like it's in like some cute little sherry glass. It's in a tiny little
Because we're not on spring break here.
right, in America, you would no, no, you would never sip any drink, any liquor that is served in a shot glass in America. It doesn't happen. It's
I've
in a
had limoncello in America and I've sipped it, but
yeah,
I'm not the
limoncello,
huge alcoholic that you are, I guess.
but not served in a shot glass. Like a shot glass is literally different than serving the same amount for sipping.
So you needed a stem for it to tell you not to,
Yes,
not to shoot it.
basically some sort of stem, some sort of coupe, some sort of something.
Well, if you're like Gaetano, this is good advice. It's a shot glass that comes after the meal, and it might be a gift. And sip it, because you're supposed to sip it for at
They
least
want
20
you
or
to stay
30 minutes.
longer. They don't want that.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe in their eyes too. If you leave, then the table looks empty and they look like they're popular. So they want you to stay. They got to keep
yeah.
delivering until the
And
end.
we had actually had coffee at this one place and a few tapas, and they brought out some little non-alcoholic ones because I was with a bunch of kids. So they brought out a whole bunch of little shot glasses with little like juice in it, basically, for
Started me
everybody, which I
on.
thought was so cute. I thought that was adorable. And
It is.
I will say one of the things also sort of culturally with the sobremesa, I've had meals go so long that they've moved into the next meal, and we're
Okay.
still sitting at the table,
And
and then
you
it
guys
goes
will
on
order
to
some more. We'll order dinner now since we're here.
you just start again. And it's like, okay, we're still here.
And I think to kind of like wrap things up with all of this, what is striking, and it still is striking to me, is you'll go to a restaurant and it will be empty, not a soul in the place, and you say, yes, can, a table for three, and they say,
Hmm.
no, we're booked. And like there are literally crickets knitting in the corner. It's so slow.
Right.
And and you're like, how? And it's like, because that table was booked at 9:30, it's booked from 7:30 until 2 o'clock in the morning or whatever it closes. Like it's
Right.
just that table's done. And my pro tip to that is, I don't know if this works in the smaller towns, but in the city it doesn't work everywhere. But if I sell someone, we're American, we'll be out in 30 minutes. As soon as you bring the
Hmm.
food, we've already left. And they're like, oh, okay. So they'll serve you because I think they feel sorry. They're not serving because they can make more money. I think they're serving like, oh, look at, he's got children with him. They're going to die. So
Right.
let me help.
Well, I have tried that and it has not worked so well. And
Oh,
I think part of it maybe is they literally sometimes the kitchen isn't even open. So you're not even
mhm.
going to get the food. And
Right.
as soon as the kitchen's open, people are coming to their reservations. So there isn't actually time or the desire to cook for you before that
Right.
before that time. So even though the restaurant looks open, the kitchen is not open. So all you're going to get is a coffee. And I think sometimes they really don't want to have another table go through, because that means
Right.
they got to clear it up and they got to cook for it, and they're really planning for the food that they know will be eaten at this amount of tables once over. So we've, the place that we love to do the menu, which is the 3-course meal, if you get there, so they probably run this 3-course meal from 12:30 to 3, let's say, ish, maybe 1:30 to 3:30. If you don't get there in the first hour or so, those menu items are starting to peel off and you've got substitutions because they just don't have, they're anticipating roughly how many people are going to come.
Right.
And that's it. So if people have reservations, they need to be able to get that menu.
Yeah, and they do literally buy just for that service because there's many times I've ordered, they're like, we're out of that. I'm like, how are you out of that already? There's no one here. Well, we figured only 4 people would eat the eel today, so
Right.
that's what we got.
And they don't have the big walk-in freezers in the back that you
Right.
have in America. They have the regular things, so it's it's smaller and more condensed. But that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's your sobremesa. Enjoy being in Spain and try and just do it and
Just do it
and yeah,
and relax and
hmm
let go.
let go
Let
because
go.
that's the point.
Have food and let go.
There you go. Okay, till next time.
Until next time, bye, Tanya.
Bye. Thank you for listening to another episode of Our Spain.
We really appreciate all the support we have received since we started this podcast.
Visit ourspain.com for transcripts to this and our other episodes, some exciting merchandise, and if you are so inclined, there is also a link to buy us a coffee, which helps support this fun endeavor.
And please follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Spain Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe to us wherever you're listening.
It really helps us stay connected, and we'd love to hear from you.
Let us know if there's any topics you would like for us to talk about. Even though we are happy to talk about anything, we also want to make sure it's informative for you.
Exactly.